They do better.
What's up? What's next?
Oh my God.
What do you want to talk about? What's the next topic? What's the hottest scoop on the streets?
All right, China's.
Am I a cool mom or no?
No. China's.
That's from Mean Girls.
Yeah, I'm
You
aware.
didn't get the reference.
No, I got it.
I don't think you did.
I got it.
Go ahead.
China's largest developer, Evergrande, set to default on $305 billion in loans, making a possible Chinese version of Lehman Brothers collapse.
I don't know nothing about that, Nate. Go. That's all you, honey.
Do you think... Well, wait for the question. You ain't got the question yet.
I'm sorry.
Oh, me, honey.
Hunty.
I don't know anything about that, hunty.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you think $305 billion is too big to fail? Like, should the Chinese government bail them out?
Bail their own people out?
Well, it's a capitalist capitalist company, right? So they're taking money, investor money from all over the world
To give it to China?
to give it to a Chinese company. Yeah, Evergrande.
What do they do?
They make apartments.
So the Chinese apartments are going to go under?
So literally, yeah. So literally, they were building like 90,000 apartments, enough apartments to house all of France in China.
Shouldn't we be concerned that if that's going on in China, that's definitely going on here, and we're doing something to prevent that from happening? You know
Right.
what I mean? So we should be worried about that.
Absolutely. Are we overbuilding?
We should be worried about that. Yeah, probably. Because how are you going to overbuild for China? China's got like the most people in the whole world in just that one little country, right?
Well, basically, but the China shut down the whole country, so they couldn't build, they couldn't do certain things.
Okay.
And then these loan payments are still due, even though the apartments aren't finished and creating
So they
revenue.
shut down construction too in China?
Yeah, they shut down everything in China when they shut down.
Because apparently it was selective here, so only selective.
And they're still they have the same shortages of supply as we do, because the Chinese have to bring in steel and all that kind of stuff.
And those people weren't working.
Right.
That's kind of scary, to be honest with you. I don't know if I want to really. That's kind of nerve-wracking.
But yeah, should the Chinese government bail them out? Should the Communist Party take over the company?
I mean, I feel like they're going to.
You don't think they're going to let them fail?
No. I mean, they're going to take the company, like so that company isn't going to be.
All right, so there's two sides. There's two sides of the argument, right? So you have capitalism versus communism, right? Mm-hmm. So there's an incentive to let the capitalists fail. So they could say, look, communism's better. Mm. But then there's also an incentive for the communists to bail them out, because then they're getting a cheap asset.
Yeah.
Right, from the capitalist failure, which is kind of how capitalism works, right? Something fails, you break it up into its pieces, and you come out better on the other side. That's kind of how capitalism works.
Interesting. Somebody's
failure could be somebody else's massive gain, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's the question: is the $305 billion too big? Because you're talking about. So if Grant Cardone is worth $10 billion, you're talking about 30 times the size of Grant Cardone.
So they have not even started building these projects?
No, they tore them down. Like, they destroyed them because they sat there unfinished and got mold and all kinds of stuff.
For just a year?
Yeah, I guess. They were probably working on it multiple years.
Oh, dang.
I mean, we're talking about these massive apartments.
That I would be really upset.
So imagine like 100-story apartment complexes
that just never got finished because they had to shut down.
Right.
What's wild to me is that our construction workers were still working here. So apparently building was really important to us, but like restaurants weren't, or small businesses weren't.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like that kind of blows my mind a little bit. But So
if they let it fail, all these banks.
I mean, is it fail? It's already failed. They already tore it down.
It's pretty much already failed. Yeah.
So they're like wanting the money.
Yeah, they still owe the money. They defaulted on the money.
Well,
they're not paying the payment.
Okay, well, let's kind of like, this might turn into a separate subject, but let's talk about student loans with that then. Mm-hmm. If we all stop paying it,
which we basically have.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, they canceled.
We still moved on.
Payments.
But they're still wanting the money. They still want the money from us later. So, I mean, that's kind of a very close comparison. Like, I don't know how to exaggerate on that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want to pay my student. They want to start paying back in January. I don't want to pay it back in January. But if everybody says they're not going to, then I'm not going to either.
Well, that's one of the reasons that the U.S. is having trouble paying their bills too, because they pay the interest on these suspended payments while they're suspended.
I mean, they were going to pay those payments anyways. Like, I wasn't paying nothing, so. And they're still paying my interest because I don't make enough to pay the student loans. I've only paid basically a year of it, and I'm okay by telling everybody that. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were going to pay my interest anyways for 30 years or however many the loan. If I never made any more money, they were going to continue to do that anyways and lose money on me, because after 20 or 30 years, whatever the term is, my loan goes away if I can't pay it. So everyone's does.
So you were basically heading to the point where the government should just bail them out.
Yeah, and just control it, right? They would control it or no?
Yeah. Yeah, the Communist Party would take it over.
But I guess at that point, there's no building there, you said. So what are they taking over?
Whatever else is in their portfolio.
Oh, so they'll get other buildings that they've already done before. Right. Okay. Do you think that's what China's going to do?
100% I think that's what China's going to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's a smart move.
They're going to say, look, capitalism's bad, we came in, we're communists, we're going to fix this. And we can all do this together and have a better situation.
Yeah.
That's 100% what the Chinese are going to do, in my opinion. And yes, $305 billion is way too big to fail. And we should never let companies get this much debt.
Yeah, like who gave them that?
It should be illegal to have $305 billion worth of debt.
Who allowed them to do that?
Right? I mean, it's insanity.
China knew what they were doing from the beginning on that.
So, I don't remember the exact percentage of GDP, but the $305 billion is like a huge percentage of the GDP of China. So, for them to, basically take that over.
Crazy.
They're basically going to have to increase their production by 30 or 40% to be able to cover those losses. And then you got to have somebody to buy those products. And since Americans aren't spending the money that they were spending pre-pandemic.
I thought we were talking about Chinese people.
We are.
The Chinese, I'm sorry.
So China and America are interconnected because we give the steel, basically the cotton, the pork, all that stuff to China, and then China makes it into something and it comes back to us and we buy it. Right? So we're interconnected because we're the biggest.
We give them stuff for them to alter it and give it back.
They can make stuff cheaper than we can.
Because their cost of labor is lower.
Because their cost of labor is lower, right?
I wonder if their cost of living is lower too.
Yes.
That's an interesting concept.
So we're interconnected. So if America's not going to buy their product, they can't grow anymore because Right. So But yeah, this is going to be pretty bad for American investors. It's going to have a ripple effect right down the line, through the financial system. Maybe China will bail them out. If not, they'll fail and be balled up by other stuff.
That's going to be unfortunate.
I'm Nate.
I'm Meredith.
And this is the So What You Want to Talk About podcast.
So, what you want to talk about?
Make sure you like,
comment,
subscribe,
share with a friend.
All right, so in the first episode, the full episode, we added a segment that was not a short segment. Tell us the topic of that segment.
Please tell us.
And you'll be entered to win an Ensorsale t-shirt. And this is the So What You Want to Talk About podcast. Signing off.
Signing off. Woo!
Peace.